Welcome to Baxter Bell Yoga. I'm Baxter Bell. I have 3 quick requests for you and then we'll get right into our video practice for today. Number 1, please check out my website, baxterbell.com, where you can find access to my online yoga classes. You can find opportunities to dive deeper into your yoga learning, and you can find more free content. Number 2, please reach out to me personally at baxterbell.com if you'd like to set up a one-on-one session to improve your overall yoga practice, or if you'd like to address any health issues that you have with yoga therapy. Number 3, if you enjoy this video and you find it helpful, please like it when you're done. That would be really helpful. So that's it. Let's take a look at what our practice for today is. All right, thank you for joining me today. Mingus the cat is blessing us with his presence. I don't know how long he'll hang out, but he's been enjoying the shelter in place and spending time with us doing yoga and being seen by folks around the world. So today I'm excited to share with you a little practice to create more mobility in the toes. As time goes on and depending on our level of activity, sometimes the things that we're involved in everyday life and also just by being in shoes, the feet become stiff and the toe joints also become stiff. And so oftentimes I'll have a little dedicated practice that I'll do to try and mobilize the joints in the toes. And this might be familiar to some of you, but if it's not, this will be a nice little practice that you can do. Are you going to be okay there, buddy? You got that look in your eyes. So I'm going to suggest having one block. You might use it, you might not, but it's nice to have handy. And then we're going to be addressing one foot with the opposite hand. So to do this, I'm going to either lift my foot up in the air, or another option is to set the foot on the opposite knee, not worrying about that foot dropping down. I think we're going to get some help from Mingus. Or you could take a block and set it on a height that's right for you and set your foot on the block so you don't have to even work. This is kind of nice actually and makes the work a little bit easier. So once you've got that set, that's right. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take our opposite hand and I'm going to take my index finger. Oh, you little stinker. We caught that on tape. He does that about once every 2 weeks. So we're going to slip the index finger between the big toe and the second toe. And then we're going to just progressively take the following fingers downstream so the thumb is on top. And then once I've got my fingers carefully threaded in between the toes, I don't want to be aggressive with this, but I do want to see if I can slide them down carefully closer to the root of the toes. And then once you've got your hand in position, we're going to do some movement. So we're going to take the hand and we're going to move the toes into flexion and into extension. And we're going to do that a couple times. So I like to go back and forth probably at least 5 or 6 times, just allowing myself to see what kind of movement I can get in those directions. And then after I've done that, it's nice to go a little bit side to side, or even better, I like to circle around. So kind of creating a nice circular movement. Oh, there's some good stuff in the toes today for me. So circling around in one direction, and then after you've gone 4 or 5 times in that direction, then go around the other way. So circling around nicely. Beautiful. Good. And then coming back and just flexing and extending a little bit. And then very carefully slipping the fingers out. And then I like to just twinkle the toes a little bit once I've liberated the toes from my hand, right? Just to see how that feels. And then if you place your foot back down and maybe come back into simple cross-legged position for a moment and just assess the difference on the 2 sides, you might notice things are distinctly a little bit different on the right and left side now. Now let's do the other foot. So again, I found that block pretty helpful, so I think I'll use it on the second side. So I place my block out in front. I'm going to place my left foot up on the block. And again, I'm going to use my right hand this time. My thumb is kind of on top of that outer joint right there. My index finger slips in first. And then I can actually use my other hand to help thread the fingers in a little more easily. I don't want to aggressively force a finger in. So if you got to the pinky and it's feeling a little too tight, another option is to slide the fingers back a little bit so they're a little narrower at the tips oftentimes than they are down the root, and you might find you can get the fingers in there a little more easily. So threading the second foot, and then once you've got everything set, we're going to again go ahead and just kind of grab on, and then we're going to rock the toes forward and back. We're going to go into what's known as flexion and then extension. And what's interesting for me on this second side is this is the side in my body where I have a little bunion formation on my big toe. So this is a buildup of calcium that can sometimes limit mobility. And interestingly, even though I have a little bit of a bunion, and the bunions run in my family, my grandmother on my mom's side, Grandma Lepresto, had very impressive bunions. My youngest brother actually has an incredibly large bunion on one foot that does sometimes talk to him a little bit, but so far I think because I've been trying to keep the foot mobilized regularly, I really haven't had too much problem with limitation of movement. So now after going forward and back, let's do our little circling action. Pick a direction and circling mindfully around. So again, I'm not being aggressive, but I'm being very clear and trying to direct the joints in that way. And then let's go the other way. So taking it in the opposite direction. Feels really good today to be doing this. I hope you're enjoying it as well. Now they do make those toe spreaders that you can buy. I know folks that get pedicures, especially the women in the audience or anybody who gets a pedicure for that matter. They make these things that you can actually do where you don't have to use your hand, but this is pretty easy. I've always got my hand handy, so why do I want to have to look around for yet another prop? So let's go ahead and go forward and back once or twice. And then we're going to slip the fingers out. And then again, let's twinkle those toes, move them around a little bit. And then when you're done, let's go ahead and bring the legs back into simple cross-legged position. And again, just take a moment to assess how the 2 feet feel. A sense of a lot of aliveness in the foot that I just finished working. But I also have a very pleasant feeling in the foot that I worked on earlier. So I can still tell that there was some residual benefit that I'm noticing even now. So today I've shared with you a nice little practice on mobilizing the joints in the feet and toes. I hope you'll incorporate that into your home practice this week and see what kind of results you get. And what's even more fun than doing these short 3 or 4 minute videos is joining me for a full live streaming class sometime soon. So check out my website, which is on the screen right now. My schedule's there. Come join me sometime soon for a greater treat for yourself. And also follow me on Facebook and YouTube at Baxter Bell Yoga. If you liked this video and found it helpful, please like it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to having you join me again. Namaste.